And welcome back to Great Scott Marcus. I'm Scott, and that one's Mark here on Ramble Entertainment, where we post this podcast whenever we really feel like it. Even though we say, it's a week-to-week podcast. Don't chew on my folder. That's Louie, and this is go on.
I feel like on average, it's more like 1 to 3 times a month, just depending on when we feel it. Not really when we feel like it. When we
it's when we're not busy, as things continue to get busier for our lives. But we really like doing this for some reason,
Indeed.
And then posting it to the internet. This is gonna stab us in the back at some point. It'll be great.
I'm sure it will.
So, Mark, how you been? We were kind of chatting each other up before we got on camera. So
yeah. Things are okay on the front, despite my weird hairstyle today. It's the after effects of not showering, plus wearing a hat all day, plus being in a pool, and then wearing a hat again. So it's just doing its own thing, and I don't care. It's like entirely too disheveled, but whatever. It's Sunday. That's what Sundays are for.
You'll live.
Exactly.
Mine's only just started, but I have night shifts. So anyway. Moving on.
Stay
from
up late
that.
tonight, then, huh?
Pretty much.
Take like a midday nap if you can.
No, I had less sleep, but I still have to force myself into sleep with like melatonin and stuff. So I can't really just take naps at will.
Sure.
Because of the pain, which is particularly not nice today because of the change in the weather. Stop.
Yeah. The weather definitely effed with my weekend plans, but we made do. It happens.
If you guys hear me saying stop, it's because Louis is particularly pesky towards my hands today, so he's a bit nippy. Louis, our less than 1-year-old Kaik. This is him. Say hi. Hi, Louis. Boop.
He's our unofficial Great Scott Marcus mascot.
Pretty much. So, just kind of one of those Sundays, but let's go ahead and just get into it. I think I'll have my own personal stuff to talk about in Hype Train. So that'll be a longer Hype Train for once.
It's been a while since we've had that.
Yeah, it has, but I think it'll be a good one as far as everything across the board or something like that. Anyway, Mark, I want to bring this up.
I'm curious on what you have to say about it.
So the way in which I brought this up to you, and the question for those who might not be looking directly at us might have us in your pocket, or to any of the three of you that listen, is what time do we live in? Not Eastern or Pacific, but are we in an innovative time? Are we in do we live in good times? What is it? And for me, the way in which I wanted to address this was, I think we live in stupid times. I sincerely think that. Now, I actually have been a very positive person lately, even though I'm much a realist. I like to give people chances. I like to believe in the good in people these days, but I sincerely think that we live in stupid fucking times. And I say that because of things like black people continue to unfortunately seemingly be abused and shot by cops or killed, and cops continue to do that to what seems to continually be the black community. I'm sure there are plenty of instances we don't hear about, but it seems like we're having a lot of that. It seems like a lot of people, especially on the internet, love to just jump to conclusions, go on the attack. The Pepsi commercial with, I think that was
Kylie Jenner.
That Pepsi commercial, which was a dumb commercial, but it just like got torn apart, and that seems to continually happen across the internet, where a lot of things just get attacked. So like people. Some of the people who probably, check out this show are from the Warframe side of this channel, which I'm still getting to, guys. Sorry for the wait. And Digital Extremes basically had their server side hacked and information pulled from it and released into the community, which wasn't supposed to be released. And so they took legal action which is literally simply a cease and desist, which is more of a warning than like a, stop completely or, get sued. So like this one guy's been warned up to like 4 or 5 times to stop. Stop it. Stop it.
Cease and desist.
So it's very Canadian of them. They're a Canadian developer. And you see him kind of defending himself on the internet, and you see like places like Reddit just like hammering DE because it's just like, actually I don't know why, but they're attacking kind of the big guy for what seemed to be their right to defend themselves because that information shouldn't have been released to the public. You have a lot of people who want like complete transparency these days, where it's just like, to be completely transparent would mean to be that like a company actually doesn't do the work they do anymore because they're so busy. Like, and now I got up and I walked up from my desk and I talked to Kylie over in HR, and then I went to the bathroom and I dropped a great number 2, and then I came back to my desk and I typed this out, and like,
I love a good number 2.
And then you have technology, and you have this ever proliferating technology in everyone's hands, especially in our country, America, that people don't know how to use. Like that people generally don't really know how it functions, don't know how to help it to function properly. Routers, phones. I think we live in very, sadly, ignorant times. We have a president who could unfortunately and sincerely be labeled somewhat racist, somewhat of a misogynist, and I would say that somewhat word is kind of being kind to all of it. We had a presidential race that was just stupid. It was stupid between both candidates, and both candidates were pretty stupid across the board, at least in the way in which they presented themselves. Yeah. There's still so much more to go on about, but I do want your 2 cents on kind of these thoughts, and to actually have a discussion where we're not on the same side of this again, because it's been too long. Stop writing on your desk. It's shaking the camera.
Sorry, I had thoughts I wanted, because my brain doesn't work. I will agree with one aspect of that, in terms of technology and people not being able to kind of keep up with the trends and unable to evolve. And coming from, our standpoint, our generation, where we have grown up with the evolution of these technologies, specifically computers, cell phones, we've learned to evolve very fast with this stuff. And the people at least I associate myself with, we tend to like know about this stuff. But so
I would then refer you to your second half of your job, doing a lot of IT support,
getting to,
or Mac.
But often the people that are having trouble evolving with this stuff are a previous generation, and it's hard for me to. Blah 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 blah. I do criticize them very often, like when I'm not like talking to them. I'm like, oh my god, like I've learned to evolve like this. Why can't you evolve? You once learned how to evolve with this stuff.
We've had that conversation many times.
Yeah, with you, me, my mom, whoever. Just not to the people that I'm actually helping out in the whole IT thing. So I agree with you there. I don't know if I have trouble. I do have trouble maybe calling it stupid. Maybe it's just I think it's just maybe a little more ignorant.
That was probably me just being crass.
I don't think it has to do with the intelligence of people. I think sometimes it does, but I think
I think it is more a word pointed towards the status of our society.
Right.
Where that's not to demarcate that like we have a lot of lower GPA people or people who didn't go to college. That's not what I mean at all. Instead, it's just like in the 90s, and we were a lot younger in the 90s, but I guess maybe the first decade of the 2000s, it felt like society was really making progress. Women's rights, more equality between people of all kinds of different colors. But now,
it's kind of taking
it's kind of like really watch what you're saying, and people should always be kind of like more cognizant of the words that they let out of their air holes, or air hole, because you don't really talk out your nose. But yeah, I have a friend who can be kind of, let's just say, unsocially aware, and might drop N-bombs at times. And I'm just like, especially when they might be drinking, and I'm just like, you need to stop. You need to stop.
Say that.
It's not only that, where it's like it's culturally insensitive, but and to his benefit, he's always going on about like, all my friends, let me say it when I'm around them, and I'm just like, that's fine, but like,
you can't do it in public.
We are in kind of a state where everyone, and I mean everyone, wants to be on the attack for every little offense. And it's just like, we shouldn't have to be walking on eggshells around each other, but that is the state of things lately, where like there seems like there is a race of people being abused by the people who should be protecting them. Where like we can mathematically show that the percentage is way higher for black people being profiled by the police than any other race of people. And it's just like, yeah, it has this feeling of just like, man, this is stupid. All of this is stupid. And that things should have been progressing in a more positive direction. And yet, here we are.
I mean, I see that. I just
please go on.
I think lately, I do try to distance myself from that kind of stuff in general. But like when you text me, I guess, for example, like my immediate thought where I said I kind of disagree with you is just technology in general.
We do have more access to a lot of knowledge,
right? Well, I was reading something basically saying that the people living during the Industrial Revolution didn't realize what kind of times they're living in. And now, in history, we can say that was one of the most important parts of, our economy.
So how did they actually feel living in that time?
Well, that's the thing. Is like what the point was saying is like what we're living right now, we may not even know, since we're living at the kind of strides that we're taking with technology, and we can see it, and we're like, oh man, it's cool, like how this is like evolving, like cell phones going from giant boxes to something like this that can literally access the world's information. It's like, since we're seeing it, we have trouble kind of really expressing that awe, whereas 20 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, they might be on technologies and say, wow, man, the early 2000s were pivotal in technology. Like we don't really know that. I mean,
it's hard to say, because
it is hard to say.
It's one of those things where history does seem to be written by the victor, where it's just like the Industrial Revolution helped all of us come out ahead, but how was it actually back then? Like it wasn't written by the people working in the mines or in the the actual factories.
Living conditions sucked. Yeah. But it's like, our living conditions are better. Like we're still like having huge leaps in technology right now.
Except for our impoverished. I guess it is still better. It is still better than what it used to be. And of course, there likely will always be this delineation, unfortunately, between those in the middle class who can do things like this, those who are impoverished, those in the upper class. Unfortunately, it seems to be a very human style of living, where things just have trouble being equal. But
so you're just talking about from a standpoint of like cultural reasons that we're in a
I think I guess if you want to talk about like progress, Sure, things like the iPhone happen, but then things like the space program just hitting brick wall after brick wall after brick wall continue to happen. We do seem to be on the precipice of the beginning of kind of, I don't want to say colonizing space because I think that's going to still be a bit off, but like the beginning of that venture where like we start to do things like mine asteroids, start to try to get people on Mars, even if it isn't successful at first. Hopefully it is, because that would just be yet another brick wall. Is it possible that that is what we're actually start kind of living in, where like, yeah, there were some like great technological advancements, but then it was just kind of iteration where it's like technology didn't really evolve, it just kind of did some things, and then it just kind of hit a brick wall for a good long while.
See, I think that's, I know we've talked a lot about that, iterations and stuff, and I think some of the innovation at
it
this
does
point,
come from
though,
iteration.
it's very, it can be very minute in the matter of.
You're the positive one today. What's up with that?
Yeah, I've been really positively. Like for example, I bought a new car about a month ago.
Congrats.
And I've been using Bluetooth on it to connect my phone to it, and then to listen to music that's on my phone, and then I connected my USB to it just to be like, oh, we'll see, if this is any easier or faster or whatever. And the difference in the sound was amazing. Like Bluetooth is pretty terrible in terms of audio quality compared to like something that is hardwired together. And in that moment, I just realized like when Apple dropped, they started investing in the A8 chip, I think. Basically, what they were trying to do is like push technologies to focus on wireless sound transmission. And like in that moment, I'm just like, holy shit, I get it. Like I understand why they dropped support for like the 3.5 millimeter and all that stuff. And they're like, all right, here's this technology, let's push it. And then, next thing you know, like other companies are investing into the same technology. And I think like something like that can go kind of unnoticed. It may not be innovative by certain aspects. At the same time, it's something the question really can be improved upon.
The question can be posed, like what is that really helping?
It's not. I guess that's the thing. It may not be helping anything, but in the terms
it helps
of
people. I can actually answer that. It helps people.
Convenience.
Basically, these small notions of entertainment can help to create more positivity within a person's life, their lifestyle, even if they are, say, living at the impoverished level. That small thing like that Netflix subscription or what have you can be a much larger difference maker than what people used to have, which was only books or record players or things like that. And I don't disagree with that. I don't think it changes my opinion.
I've got one more point.
So let me jump in. Do you have that point written down?
Yeah.
so like here's another one. This kind of what kind of seemed to grow up with us, this kind of Sue happy culture. You might have heard about this, where
I'm very aware of it.
Specifically, let me finish. John Oliver basically called out this coal tycoon, this coal baron, kind of called him out on what I would say is all his bullshit, where like there were literally miners trapped in a mine, and while they were in the process of their rescue efforts, he's like kind of on a podium or on a stage talking about how it wasn't their fault. It wasn't the company's fault, and it was likely an earthquake, even though the government... and he continues to say that it was an earthquake, even though the government was just like, there is literally no plausible evidence of an earthquake at all. It's just like... So, and he said, some crass things. He's a comedian. That's what comedians do. There's plenty of comedians who don't get sued for saying dumb shit. But yeah, and also, funny enough, his company has a written statement saying that they do everything they can to avoid the legal process until it is necessary. And yet, when his studio contacted this guy's people, they immediately sent a cease and desist letter or a
right.
Don't even try kind of thing. And now John Oliver's being sued.
Well, here's a follow-up to that: is HBO backed John Oliver?
Nice.
And here's another interesting fact about that. This is like the Devils playing chess with each other, because HBO is owned by Time Warner, which it's like you've got like a coal guy versus like Satan of the entertainment industry. It's like, okay, so we're gonna have like, well, Time Warner is owned by Spectrum, which is also Comcast. So it's like you got like it's just funny to me.
It really is.
Two devils playing chess back and forth, and I'm rooting for the cable company on this side, and be like, fuck the energy guy.
Like it's yeah, it just kind of all sounds so dumb.
Yeah.
And I can't get past that. I like I like a lot of what you had to say. I think we do live in a time of spreading knowledge, spreading communication, spreading innovation, but spreading that communication seems to also have allowed kind of a lot of the lack of knowledge to spread as well.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that hopefully we can count on people to be more
informed,
selective with their information. Yeah. I got one more quick point, but I'm not sure if it's worth going back and forth with Yo-Yo Wing.
Go ahead.
I guess another, again, based on technology, we live in such a convenient time. I'm not sure if you're aware that Amazon just acquired
Whole Foods markets.
Right. And
this is likely going to be a part of their walk in, just grab items and go.
I don't know about that. I mean, I could see it.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think what's going to happen is, Amazon everybody knows they have 2-day free shipping if you're a Prime member. Some people don't realize that you have 2-hour shipping in certain cities, including Columbus.
You think it's going to be a push to ship foods?
I think it's going to be a push to ship fresh produce, which is the only thing you can't buy on Amazon right now, is like fresh foods. You can buy boxes and non-perishables and stuff like that.
I don't see why it can't be both.
And I think acquiring Whole Foods is going to do that. And I think that just opens a door wide open for conveniences. Like, it's like you got companies like HelloFresh and Blue Apron, where they ship you food and you cook it for your meal. It's like, or you could do like 2-hour shipping in Amazon. Like, oh shit, I need a head of lettuce and some potatoes for dinner tonight. Boom, order it. Or, go online, go to Amazon, like, I don't know, call it Amazon Fresh or something like that. And you say, what am I going to have for dinner tonight? And scroll through a list of pre-made meals, and then, click buy on, I don't know, fish and chips or something like that. And then in 2 hours, you've got your meal, you get it and cook it. I think that's amazing.
Two things. One, your mic is popping. Two,
I don't know why that is.
Two, I don't see why it can't be both. I don't see why it can't be. It's a part of this push to ship fresh ingredients, as well as a part of this initiative they seem to want to do with this concept store.
Yeah, I think it's too early in the concept store. It could be. You might be right. I guess I'm not going to refute that, but I think we'll first see fresh produce being shipped.
Maybe.
But yeah, I think that's kind of amazing. I don't know. Just thinking about it and then being able to like be in my kitchen and say, Alexa, order me, 2 heads of lettuce and some red skin potatoes, and in 2 hours it's at my doorstep.
I don't ever want to talk to Alexa
cool.
unless she's an actual person.
Yeah. I just think that's cool, and like that's where my brain was going when you broached me on the subject.
I get it
lately.
I also think about the way people talk about such innovations where so like perfect example where it's just like, I don't understand why Amazon can't just ship me fresh food. God. Where like that's someone's actual comment out there, and it's just like because that'd be really expensive, and also the food would probably be dead by the time it got to you.
Right.
And it I feel like I see a lot of kind of unfortunate. Again, not really a comment on the people, but just kind of the state that we live in. Even though it seems like the more access that we have to knowledge, the lazier some people seem to get. Only some, though.
Yeah.
So
for sure,
it's not a debate that will ever be settled. It's probably not even in the history books because, we could even, you could probably have two historians sit down and debate the Industrial Revolution, potentially from the perspective of those that maybe lived within it and still not come down on one side or another. So, Mark, let's figure out your mic popping and move into the next ramble.
Yep.